Okay, it is Saturday, so there should not be any noise coming from any trees being removed. Um, and I got a lot of stuff done yesterday, as you can see. The I have attached the hinges to both doors. I decided to attach them to the doors first, so then I could see to make sure, and I'll show you in a minute when I take the camera off of here, I could make sure that they were even. And you can see here that they are kind of embedded into the door. Now, because of that, I didn't take into account some things measurement-wise. Remember, I've never made hinges before. So this means that the measurements for this piece and this piece are now approximately 2 millimeters off, which means this 2 millimeter in the middle. Let me see, here's the pattern piece. Here's the pattern piece I use. That 2 millimeters and change, it looks more like 3 now, is way too big. Again, I've never built hinges before. I do plan on building more, though. I found this an interesting experiment in how to make things work. I also did not take into account that this fabric from this tea towel is thicker. So live and learn. So the embedding part in here worked out super cool. I have some pictures that I took of the process that I'll also put up so you guys can see them. And you can see I've got, oops, that's one of the doors falling because it's not attached. No, I don't want to do that. So you can see I used, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 nails just on this to hold it in. Now, in addition to the nails, because of how cardboard is, it's not like hammering a nail into wood. I also used the Gorilla Glue because I knew that the Gorilla Glue would hold things in place and that it would help hold the nails in place because of that clear kind that I'm using. It like grabs on and holds really tight. Now, because of some mismeasuring and not taking into account, I had to add in some small pieces here. This is about, it's about 2 millimeters by 1.5 millimeters by 8 millimeters by 6.3 millimeters. That's the what's happening there. I chose the yellow and I wrapped it. Here's some pieces that I'm going to be using on the outside. They look like little pieces of butter, don't they? I just used the newsprint that I painted for, I guess, I'm going to be using it everywhere, so why not use it here? And I basically did these are a little thicker. These are 2 pieces of what's it called? Menopause brain. Chipboard that I glued together and sanded. And then I just wrapped in, let me get this. Here, that's a little better. And you can see I just wrapped it in there. I need to do a tiny bit of trim work on these teensy little, like little kitty ears, because I wanted to make sure everything was covered. So I'm going to do a tiny bit of trim work for those. These are going to go on the outside of the hinges. They're meant to go here on the underside where it wraps around, because you can see my mismanagement. You know, it's one of those things that it always makes sense to me that in astronomy, if they're launching something and they're just a few degrees off, it's like 1 degree off, but then you have to calculate how far that's going to be off once it's out there in space, and then before you know it, you're in the wrong end. You're going someplace you don't want to go. Same thing happens here. So a mistake here ended up becoming more of a mistake here. But remember, I live by the credo of, well, most of my artwork is mistakes held together with really hopefully slightly clever ways of trying to hide them. making it look like I did it on purpose. So, this took most of the day yesterday. I got both doors done. You can see here. And I thought that I was going to have to figure out how to put them. I needed not necessarily a weight to go on top because the nails were holding it in place, because this is pretty sturdy. I added some glue underneath here before tacking them in place with these tiny little nails. And I thought, well, God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this to work? I don't have any clamps that are going to work that way. Well, duh. I really don't need the clamps because I have the actual cabinet that they're going in. And because I've tried so hard to make sure everything fits super tight, here, I'm going to take this off so now you can see it. All I did was place them in the cabinet overnight. And this helped keep these yellow pieces, everything firmly together. So now this will be wrapped around, and this little yellow piece, these little yellow pieces are going to go right, if I can get that to wrap, like that. It's going to go like that. And then there's going to be the little tacks that hold everything in place. I'm going to continue to use the clear Gorilla Glue to hold everything in place, knowing that these are points in which there's going to be movement. I want to make sure that they stay right. Now, I've also figured out, I've been hemming and hawing about what I want to do for the pulls. And I finally figured out last night that I don't want knobs. That's going to create too much pressure on a specific part of the door, including these hinges. And I don't like the idea of yanking or pulling. I wanted more of a sweeping motion. So I don't have one right next to me, but I'm going to be using, I'm going to be taking, this is just some water tacky glue that I've been using for another bit of the project. I've got pill bottles, because here in the United States, these every time I get my pills, first of all, for some reason, the pharmacy will not give me 3 months of my levothyroxine or my other stuff, my antidepressant. So I'm up to my eyeballs in these tiny little pieces. And yes, they're recyclable, but I just, ugh. Anyway, I'm going to take one of these and cut it in half. It's probably going to be multiples. And I'm going to use them as, you put your fingers in and you pull open. So these will be mounted in. And I think it's interesting that, and when I said my levothyroxine and my other stuff, I mean my antidepressants. So that's going to add another layer, because I kind of toyed with the idea too of like taking the lids from these. Okay, hold on. Let me put this down here. Stay there for a second. This is just from another bottle. Yeah, I get the big bottles with 30-day supply in it when they run out. I toyed with the idea of something like this. I didn't like it. Don't want to do advertising. If this were a smaller bottle, maybe. I don't know. Perhaps on another project. I don't know. I'm going to be working primarily on the doors today because they need to be finished. The doors, the insides and out, and the handles need to be finished before I can attach the hinges to the outside. And then the doors are installed. So to that end, hold on, let's go back in here. To that end, I worked last night. I had an hour or so left. So I made some more of these tiny flowers, the white ones. I really like how the white ones look on the blue and against the green. So I wanted to have a few more smaller ones because the larger ones are just too big for the space, I think. I don't know. I may change my mind. But today I'm going to be primarily working on these panels so I can get them mounted onto the inside of the doors. Now, what's happened, let me move these around. These are beginning to bow a bit, and that's normal. It's humid. They're still kind of flexible. I am going to attach these with the Gorilla Glue, and I may decide to use some tacks as well, just to hold everything in place. So I haven't ruled that out in my mind. Now, there's an interesting problem that occurs with these, and again, it's I do a lot of planning, but I can't plan for everything, which is fine. I'm okay. Get this out of the way. I have a little spot over here it sits on. Oh, just frees up some space here. I'm totally okay with that, not knowing absolutely everything. Let's get this down. There we go. Now, you can see, if you look really closely, you can see a pencil line I've done all the way around this. Now, let's move these over. I'm going to mush them all up. The pencil line is so I know where these pieces are going to go. I did that before I did any of this because I wanted to know if I needed to add some more red fabric here and here. Now, as you know, if you've been watching these videos, these pieces also have to go in they have to leave enough space here so the door will close, and that there is a shelf portion. And you can see here, I have a tiny bit exposed here that I don't like. So what I did was I got some brown paper. This is actually 2 pieces of brown paper. And this is the side that will show up, and this is the side that's going to go down. I made 2 pieces this big, not sure how much I would need. And it turns out I'm not going to need very much. I've toyed with some other solutions to this as well, but I don't want to detract from the colors of the flowers. Now, I've also noticed, because of sinking these in here, there's a tiny bit of space there. So I think I'm going to get I have some really thin acrylic felt that I think I'm going to use, not necessarily on these, maybe, I'm not sure, because some of them sit quite flush and others not so much. Again, it's I don't have, since I'm working with cardboard and paper, sometimes things are thicker, sometimes things are a little thinner. So even when I excavated these things out, and you'll see in the pictures, sometimes it looked good and sometimes it didn't look good. I may need to add in here something that helps bulk that up, because you can see this moves just a little bit. Now, once it's glued in place, it shouldn't move. However, I'm not comfortable with that being there. So I may put something underneath these. And I've got, like I said, some really thin acrylic felt that would do the job really well. And because it's an acrylic, I can use it with a glue that's kind of a little bit more industrial. So today is all about the doors. All about the doors. And finishing up these parts, and then getting these attached, because I'm toying with, I'm not sure if I want to have the flowers added prior to gluing them on. That was my plan. Yeah, we know about my plans. So again, here I'm going, okay, I've mapped everything out. So from here, I would need to add this little felt portion, the paper over top, that's got to dry. And I think I would need to go put this under a weight, because this would be pieces that would, not be weighted properly, or I couldn't weight them properly. Then do I just sit down and do this while I wait on those to dry, and then I can attach? Yeah, it's one of those things where I need to kind of figure out which way I want to go with it. And I think I'm going to fall on the side of getting this done and weighted, and then attaching the flowers to this. Now, I also remember the stars. I have stars that I want to add as well. I went ahead and went through my sequin collection, and I pulled out some sequins. There's one in here that I love. The color is called Aztec Gold. I love this color. It's very bright and kind of orangey, that I think I may want to use. And if you're wondering, do I have one of those around here that I can grab? I don't think so. Wait a minute, I do. Hold on, let me stand up. Gotta stand up and grab something. Because I always make extras of things, these were, let me get that's kind of off there. You can see it better. You can see I've added some little sequins there and some beads. So it's a little bit more three-dimensional. And for this one, I'd left, this was for some pieces I made for another show. Some little plastic bits I used at the back to keep this from, I don't know quite how to say it, like so they could be a little bit more dimensional, which I'm not going to do in this piece. These are going to be flat. These aren't going to be shadowed on the back, because you can see on these, I completely wrapped the backs in foils, and I didn't do that with these. You can see that through the bags here, because I intend to glue them to the surface. So I pulled out some, if you're familiar with adding sequins to styrofoam, I've gotten some little pins that may help as well, which means if I decide to use the sequins, which I'm pretty sure I am, the sequin parts would be the last ones I would attach, because I'm going to need to tack these nails in. Not nails, these are pins, and they'll hold. And I've got the little, I use a clear seed bead, an inexpensive one. Heck, everything I use is inexpensive. I'm using cardboard, for crying out loud. So I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to work on this part, get these situated and settled and under some weight so they can dry, and then I'm going to be working on this for these 4 parts for the doors, because actually adding the doors to the outside is not a huge deal. I did realize though, when I put the doors inside and allowed them to dry, I'm gonna need to do a teeny tiny bit of trimming to some of the inside panels, to the backs of the panels, because I want the doors to be flush with the cabinet, not like sitting like this. I want them together. I want them flush. So I need to take that into account too. So this is one of those days where I would say this is a fun day to work, because I've got a lot of fun stuff to do. So, as always, thank you for supporting me. This is a really long video, and I will see you in the next one. And like I said, I'm going to post some pictures of what I was doing and gluing down these hinges, because I've learned a lot from making these hinges, which drives me to the next piece that I want to do where I use hinges again. So I will see you in the next one.